Adventures of the Teenie Weenies by William Donaghy. The Teenie Weenies, Who They Are and Where They Live. The Teenie Weenies are a very tiny little people. The teeny weeny children are about ½ an inch in height, and the older teeny weenies are from 2½ to 3 inches tall. Paddy Pin is the tallest one, and he really is a teeny weeny giant, for he stands 4 inches in his stocking feet. The little folks are so small that a lead pencil is to them a great log, and a clothespin will keep the tiny fireplace burning for some time. A large teacup would almost hold the entire family, and they could go swimming all at once in a wash basin. A potato will keep the teeny weenies supplied for several months, while 1 grain of rice will make one of the little people a square meal. 2 baked lima beans will make a meal for the whole family, and a thimbleful of butter will last a week. The teeny weenies are so small that big people would hardly notice them, and the little folks have to be careful to keep out of their way. The teeny weenies live in an old shoe. They have built on a kitchen, and a roof covers the top of the shoe. An old hat is used by the little people for a schoolhouse, and quarters for the army. On top of the hat is a tiny bell, which is used for a school bell, and also as a fire alarm. On the second floor of the hat the army keeps its uniforms and guns, and here the little soldiers drill one night every week. The teeny weenies have many tiny tools, and they store all these useful things in an old tin can. There is a workbench in the can, and here the men make things and mend the furniture. The shoe house in which most of the teeny weenies live is quite crowded, so one corner of the tool house has been made into a comfortable home for Paddy Pin and Go-Go. An old teapot has been made into a laundry, and here the Chinaman and Zip, the teeny weeny wild man, live, and do the family washing each week. The little folks have made a cigar box into a wonderful hospital, and there the doctor lives. Mr. and Mrs. Lover have their own home, and live, with their 2 children, who are twins, in a baby shoe, which has been made into a beautiful bungalow. All of these tiny buildings are close to each other under a certain rose bush, and there the little folks live happily together. The teeny weenies ask that the place where they live shall not be told, as they are afraid curious folks might come around to see them. Not that we wouldn't like to have big people visit us, they say, but, you see, we are so little we might get tramped on, and that would be quite the end of us. Introducing the Teenie Weenies. The General is the head of the teeny weeny family. He is very kind and wise, and all the little folks trust and love him. The doctor looks after the health of the teeny weenies, and he is often called to help sick birds, mice, and squirrels, for his skill as a doctor is known for quite a distance about the rose bush. He has an office in the teeny weeny hospital, and there he is able to treat the sick teeny weenies in the best possible way. The teeny weeny cook is boss of the kitchen, and he cooks the most wonderful food that any teeny weeny ever tasted. His stove is made out of an old tin tobacco can. The oven is so big that a whole stuffed prune can be baked in it. Go-Go, the little colored teeny weeny, is the assistant cook, and he can get up almost as good a meal as the cook. The General says that no one can bake a lima bean as well as Go-Go. The dunce is a foolish fellow who is always doing funny things. He is always hungry, and the cook says that he can eat a thimbleful of pudding and then get inside the thimble. All the teeny weenies love the dunce, for he is a kind-hearted little chap. The old soldier has only 1 leg, but he is a good carpenter, and he can make beautiful furniture out of a few matches. He is also a good tailor, and knows how to mend shoes wonderfully. The lady of fashion is the most beautiful teeny weeny lady. She dresses in the very latest style, and makes many things with her tiny needle. She is housekeeper at the shoe house, and often helps the doctor, for she is a good nurse. The policeman is a fat little fellow whose duty it is to walk about and look after the teeny weeny children. He settles disputes among the teeny weenies, and chases away bugs that get too near to the teeny weeny houses. Grandpa is the very oldest teeny weeny. He is crippled up with rheumatism, and spends most of his time sitting in front of the teeny weeny fireplace. The Chinaman looks after the Teenie Weenie washing. He lives in an old teapot, which has been made into a fine laundry. The spout of the teapot makes a good chimney, for the Chinaman must have a fire most of the time, as he needs hot water to wash the clothes, and also a place to heat his tiny irons. Zip is the Teenie Weenie wild man. He came from a tribe of tiny wild men to live with the Teenie Weenies. He rooms with the Chinaman, and helps with the washing. The Cowboy is a great mouseback rider. In fact, he can ride most anything. He once rode a bucking grasshopper, but he said it was pretty hard work. He can throw the lasso with wonderful skill, and he is a good hunter. The Indian is a silent little fellow. He spends much of his time in the woods, and he can follow the trail of a caterpillar in the wildest jungle of tall grass. The Scotchman is quite a musical Teenie Weenie. He plays the bagpipes, and dances many fancy steps. The sailor is a great swimmer, and knows all about boats. The Turk is very strong. He can lift a thimbleful of water above his head, and he can carry a lead pencil on his shoulder. He knows a great deal about machinery, too. Rufus Rhyme is the Teenie Weenie poet, who writes verse and songs for the rest of the Teenie Weenies to sing. Paddy Pin is the tallest Teenie Weenie, and he is a very jolly and wise man. The Clown is a happy-go-lucky fellow who can walk on his hands and tumble as well as an acrobat. He loves to play jokes, and the Dunce is his great chum. Tessie Bone is the newest Teenie Weenie. She joined the Teenie Weenie family not long ago, and all the little people are very fond of her, in spite of the fact that she is quite a tomboy. There are several Teenie Weenie women and children, and all these little people live very contentedly in their tiny houses under the rose bush. All the Teenie Weenies must do their share of the work. If you don't work, you can't eat, is their motto, and the work is usually done, for all the little folks have good appetites. Every day some Teenie Weenie has to help the cook and Go-Go wash up the dishes, and the next day he has to help the Lady of Fashion make the beds and sweep up the house, while on another day he must help cut wood for the stoves and the fireplaces. With all the Teenie Weenies helping, it does not take a great while to do the work, so the little people have most of the day to spend as they like. The Teenie Weenies are always ready to help a friend in need, and many times they have helped the squirrels, the birds, the rabbits, and the mice who live near the rose bush. Every summer the little people plant a garden and raise many vegetables which they store away in a great cellar under a tiny hill near the shoe house. Each fall the cook makes delicious jelly and apple butter, and puts up many cans of fruit and vegetables for use during the long winter. The little people smoke many fish and frog hams, too. 4 potatoes will keep the Teenie Weenie family supplied all winter, and when the cook wants some potatoes for a meal, he goes into the cellar and cuts off a piece. He then covers the place on the potato where he has cut out the piece with hot paraffin, and in this manner he keeps the potato in good shape until it is used up. Apples, carrots, and beets are kept in the same way, so you see the Teenie Weenies have plenty to eat during the winter. In the summer they live on fresh fruit and vegetables from their garden, while once a week they buy a fresh minnow from a friendly kingfisher for a fish dinner. Occasionally they buy an egg from an old hen, which keeps them supplied with food for a long time, but the Teenie Weenies don't have eggs very often, for they are expensive, as the old hens demand 25 grains of corn for each egg.